Welcome back to Gun Runners, Gun Dogs, and Game Birds. My place for gun dog and game bird related topics. Alright guys, let's talk a few seconds about what it is we actually are trying to accomplish right now. Alright, we have worked the dogs on the road to make sure they understand the word whoa. Now that I know that each one of these dogs knows what whoa means, I can take that and move them to the field now. This field right here has very little grass in it. I'm going to have to cover the birds up so that they can't see them. But I can move them to the field, and if they start moving on the point, I can touch them with a collar, stimulate them a little bit, pick them up and take them back and put them in the spot where I want them to stay put. I can shake them a little bit if need to be, jerk on the lead, all the things that I did on the road, not so much today, but all the things that I did on the road, condition them on day one, I can do in the field now that they know what the word whoa means. Now, the worst thing that you want to do with a dog that you're trying to whoa train is put birds down on the ground that he can catch. One of the ways that you can keep him from catching birds or minimize it, because they can turn a cage over, is use cages. Now these cages are fairly heavy. I would say this cage weighs 3 or 4 pounds. It's fairly heavy. It's not easily turned over. The birds can't turn it over, but the dogs can if they choose to. But if you're right there with the dog, so if you've got your hand on the collar and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and not daydreaming, hopefully you can stimulate the dog, get him under control, get some good dog work out of each bird before you actually have to shoot them or before you have to let them fly off. So that's going to be what I do now. I'm going to walk out here in this field, try to find enough of cover to put a bird or two down, and hopefully I won't be so far away that you won't be able to at least kind of tell what I'm doing. So let's see how it works. Like I said, I don't have a tripod, I don't have a GoPro. That will be the next investment that I do going forward if I continue the videos. So let's see what happens. Let's see if I can do what I want to do with these two young dogs. Hopefully I can get some good work. If I don't get good work, you'll see it. You'll see how much work is still left to do on these dogs. They're nowhere near to being ready yet. Still got a long ways to go, but they're making progress. And that's the whole thing with dog training is try to end every day on a positive note. Try to make progress with your training exercise every time you get a chance to take them. And eventually, at some point in time, you will get them to the point to where everything clicks for them. And once it clicks for them and they realize what it is you're wanting them to do, things just seem to go so much easier on the training. So let's get started. I'm going to use this cage. I wanted you guys to see what I'm putting out there, so I didn't have a bunch of questions on how I'm keeping the birds in one spot. These cages will keep them where I want them. So let's see what they do. Now guys, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see, but it is what it is. So I'm going to get the dog down, the gun, and we're going to go out there and we're going to see what they'll do. Whoa. Alright, we have Ringo again. We're going to see if he'll hold his points. Come here. Come here. If not, the plan is to cheer him up some. So here we go. Whoa, whoa. all bad. He done pretty well, actually. Yeah, boy. He didn't stop initially on point, but after I shored him up with the collar a little bit, he remembered what he was supposed to do. So I'm pleased with that. I will work him on a couple of more birds, but that is what I got to work with right now for the first time. So it wasn't all bad. So I'm very pleased. Now we're going to try the same thing with Marshall. We're going to see what he'll do. He's a little more hard-headed, but let's see. His will's a little stronger than Ringo's. So let's see if I have more difficulty with him than what I did with Ringo. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but I always use gloves when I put the birds down because I don't want the dogs to smell me on the birds. And I always, when there's no cover like there is right here in this area, I'm pretty much, when I'm training young dogs, I don't need a whole lot of cover. But when there is no cover, it's better to cover the cages up or break up their outline so that the dog can't tell that it's a cage. And that's basically what I was doing. I was throwing a little grass on top of them. I don't want them to be able to run by the cage and see it. I want them to smell that bird, and using their nose, I want them to stop. So let's see how Marshall does. Like I said, he hasn't been stopping on his birds. The whole plan is, if he don't stop today on his birds, to touch him up with a collar, put him back into position where he initially first smelt the bird, and go from there and see how long I can get him to hold the point. If he holds it good enough to where I feel like he can be rewarded, I will flip the cage over, shoot the bird, and reward him with it. So let's see how he does. Stop your dog, get him under control. Whoa. 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 Up. As you can see, I have a lot of work to do on retrieving, but that's what I'm trying to get to on the points. I can now shoot birds on these dogs. I can steady them up, I can whoa them. Just after a couple of days of working them on a lead, in the yard, walking them around, up and down the road, and you can get your dogs to the same point in just a couple of days with a little bit of work. But like I said before, it's very important that before you put a collar on a dog, and move him to the field and start wowing him up, in my opinion, now I'm not a dog trainer. This is just my opinion when it comes to training dogs for tournaments, which is what I do. I feel it's very important that the dog understands the command. These dogs know nothing about retrieving at this point. Ringo brought his bird a little closer than Marshall did, a little faster than Marshall did, but both of them will still have to be put on a table and force broke. But I have achieved exactly what I wanted to see at this point with these two dogs. I want them to hold their points when they point a bird in the field under these cages, so that I can steady them up, so that I can get good quality work out of them with every bird, because birds aren't cheap. We're paying $4 a bird for birds. I raise mine, but I may have a little less than $4 a bird in them. I may have more. I've never kept up with it. I raise them just because I enjoy raising game birds, and because I enjoy the availability of having birds at my disposal anytime I want to go train a dog. I don't have to go make a run to a grower and pick up birds every time I want to train a dog. So that's the main reason why I have them, and I grow them myself. So you can do it either way you want. You can hide your birds, you can raise your birds. It really don't make a difference. But to train dogs, train gun dogs, you have to have birds to shoot. You need live birds to shoot, or either live birds to let fly, because they need those birds. They need to smell them, and you need to be able to work your dogs on live birds before you ever take them to the fields for hunting, or before you ever take them to a field for field trial. So thanks for tuning in to my channel. Like I said, this is the first ever video I've ever done. The quality's probably going to be pretty poor, but it is what it is. I got to get equipment to do this. If you're interested in following me, subscribe. Hopefully I'll be doing more videos, and hopefully through watching me make a bunch of errors, maybe you can learn what not to do. Like I said, I'm not a dog trainer. I'm a field trialer that likes to train dogs. This is more or less a blog. It's not a training video. It's just what I do to get my dogs ready for tournaments. So these dogs aren't tournament dogs yet, but they're showing a lot of promise. So let's see what they turn into. If you want to follow me and keep up with their progress, by all means do. But until next time, when every second counts, hunt with a trained gun dog. That's been my motto. I've been on my trailer, been on my equipment for years, and that's what I believe. If you want a dog you can compete with in tournaments, he needs to be a trained dog if you're going to be competitive. So when it matters and when it counts, train them up. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully I'll see you next time.